Tiernan O'Halloran, a tough encounter at the weekend against Toulouse, but I suppose one of the things that must have kept you guys going all the way through it was the amount of Connacht fans, something like 800 who went over to support you guys in France, and that must give you extra motivation to finish on a high against Harlequins on Friday.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of them travel over with us on the plane, on Friday when we travelled over to Toulouse, and it built from there. Kind of was good to see so many people travelling over on the plane, and then when we got to the stadium, even during the warm up, now the noise from the Connacht fans, there's a section at the bottom of the ground where you could see it was all green and that the flags and all. But it was unbelievable the whole way through the match. You could hear the Connacht fans, which is pretty good considering they're pretty outnumbered. But they're brilliant the whole game, and hopefully now on Friday we need a big crowd. Hopefully we'll get a full house for the match against Harlequins.
You took a bit of a late hit from Dusatoire as well. Was there kind of much said on the field afterwards, or was it just something that kind of happens in the game, I suppose?
No, I think it was just kind of something that happens in the game, in the heat of the moment. But it was just a little bang, but you have them in every game, so I don't think there's anything too much in it,
And yeah, it was a tight game for most of it as well. They came back and they were just pushing all the way. They eventually got there with the bonus point, but you emerged again with a little bit of credit from a game and just gave another top team a very hard game.
Yeah, exactly. It's frustrating again. We were in the game for so long, and then to let it slip away in the end, especially giving them the bonus point. We would have liked, especially to keep them away from getting the 4 tries. But it was, I suppose, against one of the top teams. It's not the top team in Europe. We put in a very good performance, and it's something to build on for Friday night for the Harlequins game, because that's a game now we really need to win before we go into the break.
And you guys, you've played, I suppose what you would call two of the top teams, definitely in form at the moment in Europe. You played Leinster and you played Toulouse. Can you kind of compare the two of them, or do they offer different challenges?
They both are very attacking, both are very attacking-minded teams, and they're very the breakdown. I think Toulouse now really brought a different physicality we've ever experienced before. So we had to because in Galway they blew us away at the breakdown, which for the scoring at the end, we didn't get much ball and it was hard to compete. So that was one of our main focuses, going over to Toulouse to target the breakdown and make sure we get good quick ball. And again with Leinster, we played them on New Year's Day, and again frustrating to lose by just kind of missing a drop goal at the end. But they're obviously the two top teams, I suppose, themselves and Saracens at the moment in Europe. So it's good to be playing against them, but we're still trying to get that win that we need at the moment.
The game coming up against Harlequins now kind of represents, a great chance. I suppose hopefully you'll have full support out there as well, and it's just a chance. The team that you ran very close back before Christmas, and it's another thing that you're looking at as a big game, but then a big chance to kind of get that win that you've been looking for so long.
Yeah, Harlequins, I think we were a bit again the same. We were frustrated over there. We just lost out in the end over in the Stoop, and hopefully now on Friday night the crowd will get behind us as they did over in Toulouse, and we can put a big performance in and get that win that ourselves and the crowd are both looking for, kind of to give the province a boost going into the break that we have for a week or for the 2 weeks.
And then looking at your own personal contribution to the season and definitely the Heineken Cup campaign, have you got any kind of highlights that would stand out from the campaign yourself?
Well, obviously the first game of the Heineken Cup was massive, and then obviously our home game against Toulouse, when there was 9,000 people packed into the sports ground, and the atmosphere and the fireworks and everything would have been a very special occasion for me. As a young lad, come only out of school 2 years and having that atmosphere and playing against the likes of I was on Von St. Clerc on the wing, who'd be known as one of the best wingers in the world, and it's a great experience to play against a player like him, and even not just him, but the French. It was basically a French international team that they had out against us, and it was great to see all the supporters there and everything. That game in Galway was probably the biggest highlight of my career so far.
And you were kind of saying, you're not out of school too long now, and playing with the senior team. Just tell me a little bit about your own journey towards representing Connacht in the Heineken Cup this season.
Yeah, I was in it's kind of as a young lad I would have been playing both Gaelic football and rugby, and then in school in Rossgrey I kind of swung towards more rugby, and then I obviously was playing underage with Connacht, and I played a year with Leinster schools under 18s, and then after I came out of school I got the opportunity to be on a development contract with Connacht, which I obviously jumped towards straight away, and so I was in the senior squad straight out of school, which is a big step up now in intensity and physicality and all that in that aspect. But I struggled my first year or two with injuries and kind of getting into the game. But this year now, with obviously the likes of Fionn Carley, even it opened up an opportunity for me, and I saw that and I kind of took it with two hands, and I haven't looked back since, you know.
You've emerged as having a good season. I know the results haven't went well for you guys at all times, but you've emerged as somebody who's kind of been a name that's cropped up in the dispatches every week as having good games and kind of having positive contributions. I suppose you're kind of delighted with that yourself, are you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm happy now. I'm kind of, as I said, I had a few bad injuries over the last 2 years now, so this year's kind of a lot has been down to consistency of games. Getting a string of games together, which is obviously benefited me a lot, and obviously playing the likes of Antoine Clerc and Tommy Bowe and things like that, really it brings on your game and helps you a lot. And I've been working with Gavin Duffy now, has been very good to me up there, and Eric working with me and helped me out a lot, and it's benefited my game, and I'm taking it week by week at the moment,
And there's other players now who've kind of they've done well as well. As I said, there's been many games where you guys have played well, and there's players like Niall O'Connor and Griffin, Loughney and Muldoon, and yourself as well. Kind of came out, and let's say there's just some big performances by players that have stood out as well, and it kind of bodes well for the future, Connacht. And is that kind of one of the reasons why you're happy enough to sign the contract extension as well?
Yeah, exactly. Especially the young lads that are here at the moment, myself, Owen Griffin and Dave McSharrow, we've been for 2 years. And I suppose, with the likes of in the pack, we have guys like John Muldoon and Mike McCarthy. And, it is, I know obviously we haven't having the run of games at the moment that we'd like to be having and getting a few wins in, but we still have that belief that the wins will come. And at the moment, I'm from Galway, obviously, and I love it here now, so I'm happy with where it's going at the moment, and I'm glad to sign another 2 years,
And then we have the Ireland squads getting announced, the senior team, and then they'll be announcing the extended training squad and the Wolfhound squad. Is that something that you'd be hoping to get involved with in sooner? Like, you think it could happen this year, or is it something that you think might happen a little bit further on down the line?
I think at the moment it's probably maybe a bit too soon for me, but hopefully, obviously it's a long-term ambition of mine to play for Ireland as it is any young rugby player, So hopefully now I'll just keep playing well week in, week out with Connacht, and hopefully I'll get the recognition then eventually,
And do you have any people that are friends and family that are going to come along to the game at the weekend and get along and support you guys?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. My family coming out to most games, and I'll hopefully get a few friends over as well. So we'll try to get as big a crowd as we can, because we need every person we can in the gate on Friday night to be that 16th man, I suppose, because we need to get that win,
Yeah, that would be the perception, but I think if you look at what Montpellier have actually done on the road in this championship, while not necessarily always picking their frontliners as such, I think their away games have been lost within 7 points, maybe pretty close. Last week, they got stuck into a full-strength Bath team, so yeah, I wouldn't be reading too much into the perception of what Montpellier are. I think whoever they bring, they've got enough quality in the right places to have a good hit out, for sure.
But do they have the squad to fight on two fronts, given that they're sort of lower mid-table in the top 14 at the moment, and they've Stade Francais, I think, at home in Montpellier the following week?
Yes, it's hard for me to answer that. I think Gaultier is a pretty sharp operator, so I think he'll have a better handle on it than what I would. But I just know, looking through their team lists for different games that they've had, they've managed to be competitive thereabouts, as I say, only just narrowly losing a couple of those games, and obviously they got into a pretty good Bath team last week. Look, to be honest, we're going to keep it pretty simple. I think it's important that we win because we're at home. It's important that we put in a performance in front of a sold-out RDS, and I think it's important that we give a performance to the supporters. I mean, I don't know how many went to Glasgow on Sunday, but they were awesome, and to get that kind of support in Glasgow, get the support at Lansdowne Road a few weeks back, I think it's massively important that the group go out and perform in front of the packed RDS, because the supporters have been pretty awesome, I reckon.
So as you just saw last week with Glasgow, even after they were defeated, they still got a great reception from the fans, and I suppose it just goes to show that you're just one of the top teams in Europe now. And I suppose, just what kind of a position is it to have your D team to beat at the moment?
Well, it's obviously that brings, with its challenges. I think as holders you're always going to be there to shot down, especially when you're playing away in what is a bit of a fortress at Firhill, and certainly Glasgow have turned into that through some of their performances at home this year. I think they're really, they're a really very good side now, and they're certainly improving week on week. And we've come away from there absolutely delighted, to get the win, to get the 4 points, and be through to the quarterfinals.
And then coming up now against Montpellier at the weekend, just who were a couple of the players who really stood out in the last game against you guys?
Yeah, well, I think they talked about Gorgodze and Quadrago in the back row. I think they're two of their main, their main players, and they do a lot of their ball carrying and they do a lot of their organising. So certainly, it's going to be a battle up front, and that's where we're going to have to take them on.
And I suppose if you, hopefully, some of the home fans might get to see some of the bigger players, a threat like Trinduk coming up against you if he gets to play. Absolutely.
I mean, a super player. I mean, really, really talented, and was excellent for France in the World Cup. And he's certainly someone, especially if their pack is going well, he's certainly someone that's able to pull the strings and is a real leader for them on the pitch.
And Colin McEntee and some of the guys in the A team were saying how great it's been to have the support from the senior management as well. Are you guys all hoping to get out to the game on Sunday then at Donnybrook?
Absolutely. I think it's something that's really important. There's obviously a lot of guys from the senior squad involved in that game, but it's a huge game for the B&I Cup team, and we'll all be there in numbers, hopefully cheering on a victory and get through to the semi-finals.
And if you did get the home win to make the home quarter-final, would you like to play in the Aviva for both of the games? Well, quarter-final starting with...
Well, yeah, well, obviously I think depending on the draw, but we've had great success at the Aviva. It's been I guess we love the RDS because that's our home ground, but certainly the games that we've taken to the Aviva have been very special occasions as well. So if the crowd are backing us as they are, which has been absolutely fantastic home and away, I think taking it to there would be a good reward for them as well.
Yeah, perfect.